Welcome to the More Than OK podcast, a wellbeing and family podcast about tips, strategies and stories on how to be more than okay. My name is Belinda Bray. I'm a mum, a wife, a teacher and someone who's always trying to be more than okay. I love learning about wellness and wellbeing, and I love bringing what I learn into my life, my family and my classroom. So I hope what I have for you today is helpful and inspires you to be more than okay. Welcome to another episode of More Than Okay. Today we are talking about some tips on how to get ready for prep. The new school year is about to start and there's a whole new group of little preppies out there ready to start school. So we are going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to survive and thrive through the first little bit of prep. So we have a special guest in the studio today. Hello.
Hello.
This is Beck Cameron. So Beck Cameron is a bit famous around here. Where do we start? Let's start with your famous kids. So you've got Judah and Max.
Yep.
Beck's also the wife of our pastor, Doug, which is pretty cool. What else do you do? Photography?
Yep.
Media team?
Yep.
Like everything. So
I'm
welcome.
a bit everywhere. Thank you.
So Beck's come in today because she's had Max go through prep with us and Judah's on his way. Yep. And I just thought it would be great to get a parent in to give us some really good tips on how to survive prep. Cool. And thrive through prep. It's a pretty special time, hey?
It is. And especially your first one going through it can be really daunting and a bit emotional and a bit scary at times for mum and for our little preppy. Yeah. So, just cool. To have some, I guess, some hints and tips, like you said, just to try and make the getting ready process easy.
Yeah. All right, so some quick fire questions to get to know you better.
Okay.
How do you have your coffee?
I actually don't drink coffee.
Okay. I always get a bit, really?
If I'm at a cafe or something, I'll order a almond chai.
Okay.
But otherwise at home, I'm a big tea drinker.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a favourite tea?
New York breakfast. It's a tea tree tea.
I like that one too. Oh, cool. So, all right. What do you like to do on Saturday mornings?
As much as possible with two little kids. We try and get a teeny tiny sleep in if we can. And this year we were doing soccer on Saturday mornings. Okay. This was our first year of extracurricular activities.
Oh, what a great year to do that.
Yeah. So we had soccer on Saturday mornings, which was actually really nice. The whole family got out and so that was enjoyable actually. I was a bit surprised, to be honest.
Cool. And your favourite colour?
Blue.
Any
like a navy blue.
A navy blue.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So, prep.
Yes.
They're little tiny babies.
They are.
It feels like you're releasing your baby into this big pool of
definitely does.
People. But let's talk about some ways to make this easier.
Yep.
And we'll be really practical.
Yes.
Because I think that's what you need.
Yeah.
When you're about to start. Because I remember sending my little one off and just being really overwhelmed by the volume of stuff you think you need to do.
Oh, yes.
And that's the killer, right?
Yeah, the expectation and what you actually need can sometimes be very different.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about 6 categories. Yep. So the first one we're going to talk about is being ready for day one.
Yeah.
So what do you need to be ready? What do you think?
So we actually have a morning routine at home for our school days. And so I wish that we had that starting prep. I think that would have made our lives a lot easier. So I have learnt over our schooling time, not that it's been very long. Max is only just finishing grade 1. But we have found if it's predictable, then it's really, it makes the morning run smoother and it kind of takes the guesswork out for our preppies as well. Yeah. A lot of the unknown of walking into a new classroom and new teachers and possibly new friends if they're going to a school that might be separate from their kindy or something like that. Yeah. So having a routine has been really beneficial for us. And so, we have a little chart that says, we make our breakfast and we brush our hair and our teeth. We get our uniform on. And so they've got little pictures and they follow their little routine. And I think just having that morning, I can do it myself. Like
that's good.
That independence as well, kind of cultivating that independence in maybe not necessarily for the first day of prep, but definitely giving them, I guess, opportunities to expand their independence and have the opportunity to take a bit of control over it. Like I can do this, I can get ready and I can put my shoes on and
that's good.
And that kind of thing. So
when Max started prep, did you do anything to you getting ready emotionally? Because for some little ones, full days out of home, this is the first time they've done 5 full days away from home. So did you do anything with Max or?
Max is definitely a creature of habit, so it was definitely going to be a big transition for him regardless, because of the fact that he's going from something that was familiar, kindy, to something that was unfamiliar. So I guess we're a Highlands family, so we've come through the Early Learning Centre and now the kids are at the college. That transition in itself was quite seamless.
Yes.
So that definitely helped in getting him emotionally prepared because he'd already been to the classroom, and I know that most schools, I would assume, would do a similar thing. Like they would have their preppies that are coming up the next January to come and visit. So that was a big one. We made sure we definitely didn't miss out on those days, and that he had the opportunity to go down there, meet the teachers and see the classroom. So it wasn't completely unfamiliar to him. We tried to make it exciting without going too big, though. I had heard someone say, like, if you go too big, it can get a bit too scary as well.
Yes.
And then their expectations are so high, and then they get there and then they might be a little disappointed or something. So we tried to just keep the familiarity sort of thing going with him and be like you've met the teachers and how cool are the classrooms and look at that really big playground, that's going to be fun and try and talk about the positive things that will that will be happening.
Yeah, that's great. And I think our school does that really well. The whole going through one part of the school to the next. I think we're good at those transitions.
Absolutely. And as I guess I saw it especially with Max because he is such a routine kid and he likes familiar, he likes knowing what's happening. To see him go down to the college fairly seamlessly, I was like, oh well, this is well done, because Max seems relatively unshaken by the whole thing.
Good.
So it worked out really well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Were you emotionally ready for Max to start prep?
What did we
do to get you ready?
I don't know if any parent is emotionally ready. I thought I was, and I had a big cry after dropping him off. Like I stayed strong for him because I'm like, this is going to be so fun, and this is where your bag goes. And we dropped him off, and then walking up the steps to leave him, and I just burst into tears.
I did the same thing.
Oh
actually.
my gosh!
Remembering back, and so when I did it with my next child, I actually arranged with girlfriends to have coffee. On that day, because it's hard.
Does it get easier the more that you have?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And I've got 3, so by the time Marcus came through, he had big sisters that he had basically been doing school drop-offs since birth. So he kind of just saw the routine and saw it as quite normal. But now our school does tissues and tea or something.
Actually.
So that is actually great. It's
we
a way
went up to the tea and tissues morning and cried there also.
Yes, with friends.
With friends.
Yeah, but I think it's, getting ready emotionally for your kids is good. But I think also a tip for mums and dads is to plan something for 9 a.m. Because you can feel really lost.
I completely agree. With your first, I've only done it with one. I've got another one coming through soon. But I think being a parent doing the first with your first, it's everybody's first. So,
that's right.
So you don't really know. I had nothing to gauge how I was going to feel about it. We were all very excited, but it was still, I don't know, you look back at baby photos and you think this has happened so quickly.
It has.
So
I have one about to start senior. Just like that. Anyway, we can talk about that in a few years' time.
I will come to you when I've got one going into senior. I won't be able to handle it.
You'll be fine. All right, another part of prep, which might be new for lots of kids, is the uniform.
Yes.
Do you have any tips on uniforms?
We didn't get Max's uniform as soon as he had his prep interview and was accepted into the college. We waited until the last minute, and I saw a lot of people buy them like 6 months before prep started, and I thought, the kids are going to have growth spurts. Like they're still so little, so like they're growing all the time. I tried to leave it as late as possible, and I'm glad that I did, because we haven't had to buy anything new within the last 2 years.
Oh,
so
that's good.
we went through prep and grade 1.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably partially due to the fact that we left it as late as possible, and then we bought them just that tiny little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So that he had room to grow into it as well.
And I think that's a good tip, is just buy them a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You see some kids down there with uniforms that are huge, with the parents thinking this is going to get through to year 6.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually, they need to be comfortable, and they need to be able to play and move, because they're quite rigid. Like, they're not play clothes, it's a uniform.
Yeah.
So they need to be comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. With the shoes as well, we bought just that tiny little bit bigger. We went with what the people at the shop had suggested, because they're obviously doing it all the time and they know what is practical.
Yeah.
With his sports shoes, we didn't want to go too big, because obviously he's going to be running around and doing lots of things. We didn't want him tripping over his toes that were too big. So we got, just that tiny little bit bigger with the sports shoes that he had room to grow, but then his formal shoes, we went, it was just what the professionals at the shop had suggested too. So we trusted them, and again, they've lasted quite a long time. The formal shoes we've had for 2 years now.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, so we'll probably have to get a new pair for year 2, but certainly got our money's worth. And I think it's something that we didn't want to, because they're in them all the time, we didn't necessarily want to get a cheap pair. Yes. Because they're wearing them so much.
Okay, so number 3 is school bags, which you might think, school bags, but for a preppy, it can be a big deal. Yeah. So how did you handle school bags?
We didn't want to get something too big. Max in particular is a smaller kid within his grade, so we recognised that he wouldn't be able to carry anything too big and too heavy. Yeah. And for prep, Highlands has a Highlands bag, which you can purchase. It's not compulsory. So we decided with prep to do his own bag, just so that he could easily identify it, and he wasn't trying to think about like, which is my bag and where does it go, and so it was just one less thing to complicate his life. Like, we just thought make it as easy as possible for him to get settled in. So for prep we did a bag of his choosing, whatever character or something that he liked, but it meant that we could get a smaller size that was suitable for him, that could still carry everything. Yeah,
because really all they need to carry is like a lunchbox and a drink bottle and their hat.
And their hat, that's really all that they usually
have. Do they still have a homework folder? They might have a homework folder or something.
But it's got a little handle anyway, so like they can carry that separately. Yeah. It doesn't come home every day anyway, so it wasn't really necessary to have a big bag that would fit everything. Yeah. I think that's a great tip, because you see some little ones really struggling with their big bag, and they just don't really need to. Yeah. So I think a small bag that they love, I think that was another thing, was that making sure they were excited about school and loved their bag, and that's a real boost in getting them to school. Yeah. So that's cool. So going on from bags, we can talk about lunch boxes. Yeah. I have a daughter who's addicted to lunch boxes. She has she has so many lunch boxes, because she just wants one that's just right. But what do you have a tip for lunch boxes for preppies? Something that's not complicated to open would be a big one, and something we've had a couple that have like that thermal lining, so you can pop an ice brick in. Yeah. So it means that you can send yogurt and it's not going to get hot by 10 o'clock in the morning, that kind of thing. So I think that's pretty much it. And then the something obviously easily identifiable as well as their water bottles. Yes. We have had to replace so many water bottles just because kids, I assume it's just kids. Just
they lose them or they break?
They break.
Oh, okay.
The pop top bid. We tried a lot of different bottles, and so I find that Max can sometimes not drink enough water.
Oh, yes.
So
Same.
I've tried to make it as easy as possible for him to get into his water bottle. Nothing
Yes.
that he has to, screw top or anything like that. So something that's really easy, he
Yeah.
can just pick it up, have a quick drink of water and put it down, so that I make sure that he's drinking water during the hot days.
Yes, that is good. What sort of things do you put in a lunchbox?
We could possibly be accused of being a little bit boring.
Yeah, same.
It's pretty predictable from day to day. Max really likes chicken wraps, so they're really easy to make.
Yeah.
Something that's, I always try and do a fruit, a yogurt, and then like a main meal kind of thing for the lunch.
Yeah.
And then some kind of snack, so whether it be a biscuit or, something baked or something like that.
Yeah.
I've found once he got to prep that he didn't eat as much. And I think it was possibly there's too much playtime. Like he didn't want to miss out on playtime. He wanted to eat quickly and then go and play. So nothing that he had to fiddle with, and that was too difficult for him.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it as easy as possible so they didn't come home with a lunchbox full of food.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's a boy thing or a girl thing as well.
I look at what my son brings. He's 10, and I think, how do you survive on that? But then I see what he eats for afternoon tea and go, oh, I see.
He's
when I
making
play
up
at
for
school and you come home and eat 4 Weet-Bix for afternoon tea. So
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'll put more food in his lunchbox and he still won't eat it.
Yeah.
So I just think he's 10, he can work that one out.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah. But lunches I don't think need to be complicated.
No.
I think that was something I got stuck on too, was you want that perfect bento or Pinterest lunchbox.
Yeah.
Which is fun every so often. If you have time to do that, that is so cool and your kids will love it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you need to feel the pressure of having that every day.
And I'm not creative enough. Like I'm not a big cook. Like I like food, but I don't necessarily like cooking, and I'm not creative in the kitchen when it comes to baking different things.
Yeah.
So I try not to put too much pressure on myself, as long as Max is eating it and then I know that it's nutritional.
Yeah.
I know other mums who they have their section lunch boxes with some beautiful foods in there, and I think, oh, Max is never going to get that. But he's eating, he's growing, he's healthy, so I'm okay with that.
You can't compare lunch boxes.
No, that's right.
So labelling things.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Do you have stickers?
I have some stickers. So I have some bigger stickers for school books.
Okay.
And I have tiny stickers for pencils.
Oh, wow.
And then any containers that come to school in Max's lunchbox, I'll put a sticker on.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just label with a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that sometimes they suggest like shoes and socks and things, but I've found the difference between prep and kindy is that they don't really take their shoes and socks off much. So there's less risk of actually losing those. But like hats and jumpers especially.
Oh, yeah, the things they take on and off.
Yeah. So hats and jumpers are two big ones that need labels.
Yeah. Laundry marker.
Yes.
And I suggest labelling the one at the back and also any other tags.
Any tag that you can find, pop a name on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're the things that go missing. Last thing about preppies, extracurricular things for preppies.
Okay.
Did you guys do extracurricular when you had preppies? A preppie?
I think we did swimming lessons.
Yeah.
But nothing extra other than that. We found we needed to find our feet as parents, as a family, and how the whole prep thing was working with a full-time, like a child 5 days a week somewhere. So we didn't want to overcommit ourselves too early. I know other parents who had their girls in dancing and different things like that, but we just felt we needed to find our feet first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were the same. We thought we did swimming lessons because it's survival.
Yeah.
It's really good to get them to swim.
Yeah.
But then we really thought they just want to be at home and just to rest and just to do the things they love. Like we have one of our daughters just loved her bedroom, so she would run home from prep and then just go straight to her room. She just needed to play with her things, and it's like, oh, poor little thing, she just missed being at home.
Yeah.
So I think trying to find that balance between full-time school and still letting them play and have time at home.
Yeah.
That's a tricky balance.
It is. And I found that we still had to do some nap times on weekends.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't want to...
For you or for Max?
Oh, a bit of both. I didn't want to completely eliminate the chance of having that time for him to rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't do it, but yeah, we did this year, starting grade 1. Bit of an interesting year to start extracurricular things, but we found it much better because Max had found his feet at school, that he was ready to take on that one extra thing. It wasn't as much of a, like his routine was already set, that adding one extra thing in wasn't as overwhelming as adding prep and a sport or something.
Yeah. Okay. You've brought in a prop or something to share. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. I found it quite overwhelming trying to cover books when I was a new prep mum. I didn't mind the actual covering with paper or something like that, but the thought of having to put contact on books made me anxious. The time that it would take, and then getting the bubbles, and it just made me so anxious. So the day that we were to drop off our book pack at school, getting ready for the following week for Max to start prep, I had all of these books ready and I still had the contacting to do. Oof. And I was so anxious, and one of my work colleagues actually said, you don't need to do contact, get these slips. So I went to Officeworks and I got just clear book covers that just slip over. So I still got to do, Max wanted to put stickers and different things on, so we did some paper and some stickers and then put this over the top, and they're quite inexpensive. And we, like, this is one from his books this year, and I've just cleaned it with Metho, and it's got no cracks or anything, so we'll use it again next year.
We love those things.
We love book covers, plastic book covers. And if you're not into covering with paper or anything, you can get pattern versions of these too. So they can have soccer balls or unicorns or something on them, and it's just, you get the book, you pop it on, and done. It's completely done.
And kids can do it themselves, so then they feel empowered.
They do.
It's so great.
They do. It's like book prep time at that last couple of weeks of school holidays can be really fun. But for those that aren't really into it and they don't really care, which is fine, everybody's got their own thing. But they still want to protect their books because, you know,
it does make them last longer.
The corners will start to fray and different kinds of things. So it's a really good way to protect the books, but also you can do something funky with it. It just makes life so much easier. So that was my big new prep mum win, finding that out. I just wanted to share it with everybody. It will make your life easy.
It will. It's great. All right, we're just going to finish up with 3 quick tips on how to really make, like, the first week of prep so much easier. Number 1 is to be on time. I think you should be about 10 minutes before the bell at the latest. You want your kids to have time to put their bags away and meet the teacher and stuff like that. What do you think?
I agree. And some time for them to settle with you there, so that they're not, I guess, being ripped away from you at the like the bell's going to go in 1 minute and they have to just suddenly be ready. But it also gives time for mum and dad to be ready as well. Like I wasn't necessarily ready to just drop and go. So it also gave me time to see him interact with some friends, see his teacher, see how she took them into the classroom. They read a book together, and then we were invited to leave and go up to Tea and Tissues morning. So it made it easy for our preppy, but also for us to have that extra time at the start of the day.
Cool. Tip number 2 is to make a plan to do something nice in the afternoon. So if you, in the morning when you drop off your little one, you can say, this afternoon we're going to have a special afternoon tea or ice cream after dinner or something like that. But I think it should be at home, that's my opinion, because they've been out all day and it's day 1. But I think to have something nice for them to look forward to at the end of the day and to celebrate, because it's such a big thing. It's so great. They get to start school, and I love to celebrate anything. So if we can have something nice, I think that's a a way that you can reconnect and they can look forward to it.
Yep. Debrief about the day as well.
True.
Give them a chance to, like, this is what we did, and they've probably got a million things that they're excited about that they've seen for the first time. So,
or they may not.
Or
I have one who basically went, it was good. And he just wanted, so Marcus, so he just wanted to go and play, and we were like, okay. Whereas, you know, our other children were like, chat, whereas he was fine. He was like, I'm fine.
That's so funny.
You just have to be prepared for anything. You don't know what you're going to get.
True.
And the last thing that I think the focus of prep should be, especially at the start, should be just to have fun.
Yeah.
Just to enjoy it, because it's a big deal, and it's adjusting to a whole new part of their life. So I think we should be focusing on letting them enjoy their friends and enjoy the environment, enjoy the teachers, and worry about academics later.
Yep.
What do you think?
I agree. Yep. I think one of the good things too about, I know that Highlands does this, is that there's not a expectation of like all this homework and things coming home. So we got to ease into that, which meant that us as parents, I was thinking, all right, we're going to have to get home, we're going to have to do like X, Y, and Z. Whereas I think the teachers down at the college here were really, they were focused on getting the preppies settled and allowing them to find their feet and have fun. And when reading eventually started coming home, they were excited about, like, I know that Max was excited about it, and it kind of took the pressure off of us to think about academics as well.
Good.
So we kind of took the lead from the teacher in a lot of ways of, all right, well, if she's not stressing about it, I'm not going to stress about it, and I'm not going to stress my preppy out about it because everybody's still sort of figuring out what they're doing. So, I think making it fun, especially for the kids who can put pressure on themselves. Max is a bit of a perfectionist, and so to try and take the pressure off of him, it was good for us to just be like, it's fine, prep's great, prep's fun.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure, thank you for having me.
It's been so fun to chat with you and get your wisdom. Thanks for joining us today. If there's any questions about starting prep, we would love to answer your questions. If you have any topics you would like us to cover on the podcast, just leave us some notes. We would love to share with you about the things you want to know about. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.